we will be starting very soon. I'm going to give a little bit more time for people to join us. Enjoy the music, and I'll be back in a moment. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nina Agustin Rodriguez, physical therapist and clinical director at Spear's Times Square, the Center for the Performing Arts Clinic. Welcome back to those of you who have attended one of our previous webinars, and welcome to those who are joining us for the first. Thank you all for choosing to spend the next hour or so with us. We know that there are many bigger things going on right now, and we appreciate you taking the time to learn with us today. For those of you who do not know who we are, Spear is a private physical and occupational therapy practice that has been around for over 20 years. And we currently have 20 locations located all over the New York City metro area. Since being labeled an essential service during the pandemic, we have continued to offer in-person care and are strategically going above and beyond the CDC guidelines to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone within our clinics. For more information on the safety measures that we are taking, please visit our website at spearcenter.com/safety. We are also offering Spear Live for those who are looking to stay in and receive care from the comfort of their home. This gives you the opportunity to receive physical or occupational therapy treatment through our telehealth platform from any device. You can get more details about that at spearcenter.com/live. We are here for you in whichever way makes you feel the most comfortable. If you are looking for individualized care to help relieve or prevent pain, rehab after surgery, or reach peak performance, please reach out to any of us individually or at spearcenter.com at your convenience, and we'll help you set up an appointment right away. Since the COVID-19 pandemic started, we have had a lot of patients reach out to us about injury prevention. This talk will highlight strategies to optimize our workout routine and to rehab our bodies for injury prevention. It was created by performing artists in mind. All of us here today have a dance or performance background, but the concepts are applicable to all athletes. Our team of clinicians got together and agreed that given today's challenging circumstances, it would be a good idea to provide you all with some insight as to why cross-training is important and tips on how to prevent any symptoms you may experience in preparation for activities, events, tryouts, or auditions. We created today's talk specifically for you and are coming to you live from our home and from our clinics. We don't anticipate any technical issues today, but please be patient with us as we navigate working through this new technology. As part of our session, we will be demonstrating some exercises and really look forward to you following along and participating. This will not be one of your typical Zoom meetings. We're going to have some fun and get your bodies moving. Please note that if you're experiencing any pain while performing any of the exercises that we demonstrate for you today, to stop and reach out to one of us directly so that we can support you. Now, just some general housekeeping. Throughout the webinar, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions, please ask them in the Q&A feature. So if everyone can hover at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to see the Q&A option. That is where you will put any questions that you might have, and we'll do our best to address them, and as many of them as we can. We will not be using the other features to answer the questions. The chat feature, for example, is a great way for you all to engage with each other, but we will most likely not be able to answer any questions that are asked in that feature. Also, please make sure that you are in gallery view so that you can see the exercises as well as the speaker at the same time. For those of you who are joining us through YouTube Live, we are monitoring the comment section there as well, so please feel free to type your questions in. So let's talk about our goals for today. First, we want to debunk any myths surrounding sports-specific training and also discuss the importance of cross-training for injury prevention, and also review exercise recommendations to help balance your current training routine. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce our team of panelists. So let's see who we will welcome here first. There is Ashley Rosick. She is one of our physical therapists and our clinical director at our 57th Street location, and she'll be helping us to answer any questions that you might have.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Next, we have Nicole Obenrader. She is a physical therapist at our Times Square location.
Hi, guys.
And Gwen Giffard, physical therapist at our Murray Hill location.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so Ashley and I are going to say goodbye for now. Gwen and Nicole are going to take it away. I hope you are all ready to sweat.
Amazing. Thank you, Nina, so much. So welcome back to those that have been here before. As you very well know, this is something to get you moving. So as Nina said, this is not your typical Zoom meeting. What we want to do, what Nicole and I want to do, is kind of get the point across of why cross-training is important. We're going to break it down a little bit too. We're going to go into talk about strength versus cardio, why they're both super important, and how we can actually combine some exercises for strength, but also turn them into like a HIIT routine and get your heart rate up. So I know, Nicole, I'm ready to sweat.
Yes, I'm so ready.
Perfect. So why are we bringing this up at this point in time, right? Pre-COVID, we were all kind of doing maybe the same thing. Maybe you were a marathon runner and you were training for marathons all the time, or you just enjoyed running outside. Maybe you're doing your berries boot camp, your Orange Theory, but you were dedicated usually to one thing. And now things have changed, right? We're indoors most of the time. Granted, running is starting to become a little bit more popular. So the theory, the pattern is that all of these tend to, if done too much and without a little change in your routine, they can actually contribute to some kind of overuse injury, right? So overuse, or also known as repetitive injuries, are defined as the absence of a single identifiable traumatic cause due to excessive loading, insufficient recovery, or underpreparedness of our tissues. So essentially it's doing the same thing over and over, and your muscles can't handle it. So what our bodies want, right, is to stop being bored, right? So yes, running is great, don't get me wrong, but we need a little strength training in there if you're gonna be a better runner. And then vice versa, let's say you do strength all the time, our body needs a little bit of that cardio. So, oh, and fun fact, I did want to mention this, 50% of runners do experience an injury every year, at least one, and most of them are overuse injuries. So this is going to be really important for you. So to reduce our injury rate, right, to promote the best physical performance that you can give, we're going to learn about cross training. So essentially, let's change your routine up and not get your body bored. So this is where I want to bring in our first poll, right? We're going to do a little bit of a Mythbusters thing. So the question that I am posing to you all is, does cross training, does it need to be specific to your sport? True or false? So as Nina mentioned before, Nicole and I were both dancers. I was an Irish dancer. Nicole, what kind of dance did you do again?
Mostly ballet.
Okay, so for both of us, that meant a lot of time in the studio, doing the same thing over and over and over.
Exactly.
It was a lot, and it put a lot of stress on I know it put a lot of stress on my body.
100%, especially the feet.
So amazing. Looking at what everyone said, right? 84% of you said that that is false, that cross training actually needs to be outside of your current sport. So what I'm going to do is actually talk a little bit more about the strength training component to everything. And then Nicole's going to take over a little bit later after we've gotten our brains moving, our bodies moving, a little bit of a sweat going on. She's going to talk a little bit more about the cardio. So cross training is defined as the action of practice of engaging in 2 or more sports, right? So we're talking about more than one particular sport, or just types of exercise in order to improve fitness and performance, right? So what I want to talk about is, what are the recommendations for strength, right? We hear it all the time. Gwen, what are the sets and reps? Why are we doing 3 sets of 10 all the time? Because, PTs always go to that 3 sets of 10 reps. So literature is showing actually that the ideal repetitions for strength training are 6 to 12 reps. And you want to get roughly, 40 to 70 reps per exercise, right? So if you're doing squats, for example, which we will be doing soon, you want to get in about actually 4 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 15, anything like that. So roughly between that 40 to 7 per reps per exercise. And the key to the weight, right? You can use your body weight. That's great. If you have some dumbbells, right? I think everyone, maybe not everyone has them, because Amazon, man, they went crazy and everything skyrocketed in price and everything was just out of stock all of a sudden. But if you do have any weights, the key thing to remember, the rule of thumb, right, is if you can't even get to 6 reps, you've done too high weight. It's just too much for you right now. So I would try to pick a lower weight. If, however, you can get through 12, easy peasy, you didn't even break a sweat, those muscles aren't burning, right? Maybe the weight was just too light. So you want to try something a little heavier the next time around. So as I mentioned before, right, we were dancers, but this webinar is for everyone. So I wanted to compare how strength training affects dancers and runners, right? A lot of us are turning into runners. So for dancers, they have actually found that doing strength training outside of the practice, area, whether that's the Marley floor or at a bar, right? It actually improves your dynamic balance. It improves your max lower body strength, right? Obviously, it's going to improve strength. It improves your power, making your jumps a lot more beautiful and high and light and airy. It improves your recovery rate. So this actually goes for everything, right? This improves recovery rate so much better. And then for runners, right, it improves your endurance over time. It actually increases your speed and your power output. Just means it takes a lot less time for you to become exhausted. That's just from strength training alone. It also improves neuromuscular efficiency, so that mind to muscle connection gets improved over time. And then it improves musculotendinous stiffness. Essentially, again, just general strengthening of those muscles, making them nice and strong to support your body. But Gwen, so much talk about runners and dancers. I get it. I know, right, Nicole? I'm so sorry. For the general public, it also improves performance, increases your metabolic rate, movement control. It allows you to walk faster. It makes you more independent. Your self-esteem rises. I mean, there's so many benefits to strength training, even if you're not a big sportsy working out kind of person. So that's why I want to actually bring in one more myth. And this actually goes a little bit more for the ladies. I feel like we sometimes get that feeling of but I'm going to get really bulky. And I want to see what you guys think. What's your, what do you think happens with strength training? Do you get bulky? Will it affect your aesthetic? Is it going to make you look like, those big lifting weight trainers, Hercules people? What about you, Nicole? I thought this myth was true for the longest time. I was like, I can't lift weights.
Yeah,
bigger.
I have always thought, until I became a physical therapist and studied exercise science a little bit, that it made me bulky. So it looks like most of you guys have figured out that is not true. Great job, guys.
Amazing. So yes, you need to really want to get bulky to get bulky, right? You're talking difference in dietary needs, right? You need a lot more protein, more carbs. You need to actually train yourself if you are looking to bulk. Your sets and reps change, your weight changes. So like just doing your 3 sets of 15 reps with an 8-pound kettlebell or dumbbell, right? No, you will not get bulky. So I'm glad that everyone knows that. I'm glad that that stigma is starting to, go away. So we're not here to lecture you. I think all these are great. It just goes to show how important strength training is, right? And again, as we said, it's 6 to 12 reps, about 40 to 70 reps per exercise. And rule of thumb is you should be able to do 6 reps easily to 20 reps easily, or a little challenged by the 12th rep. So we're going to get you moving. I hope that you guys are ready. Actually, Nicole is going to be my model for the first 3. So I'm a little reluctant. That means I have to be the model for the last 3, and that means I'm going to be sweating.
I'm going to bring you guys down to the mat. 1 second. Okay.
Perfect. So a lot of these exercises are actually going to be for lower body and core. So as we mentioned before, we wanted to bring exercises that were good for everyone. We also wanted to bring exercises in that you can do at home. So a lot of these we can modify, and we'll kind of walk through that with you. So we're just going to start nice and easy. So actually, Nicole, I'm going to have you come to a standing position for me. And we're going to go for a squat with a heel raise, right? So this is full like posterior chain, meaning your booty and your calves. So we're going to get this fired up nice and easy. Everyone just take your time. So what we're going to do is stand in a nice wide stance. As Nicole is demonstrating, a little bit of a turnout, especially for our dancers, right? This is almost a second position. And what she's going to do is she's going to start to squat down, letting the knees follow through with the angle of her toes, and look at that. And she's coming into a heel raise or releve, right, for our dancers. So she's squatting, she's coming onto her toes. She should be feeling the burn. How you doing, Nicole?
Feeling great. Definitely feeling it in my calves, quads, and glutes.
Good, fabulous.
And a little balance work too.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. Yes, if you are wearing sneakers, it's definitely going to be a little easier than maybe barefoot, but this definitely works balance as well. Now, a way to maybe make this a little bit more challenging would be to stay on your toes, Nicole. Don't come down onto those heels. Yes. Beautiful.
Excellent.
I love it. One more, everybody.
You can't see my face, so you can't see my struggle, but it's happening.
Don't worry, we're hearing some of the grunts. They're coming through.
Excellent.
So again, about 6 to 12 reps. I think she's done about 8 or so. So we're going to move on to our next one. What we're going to do next is a hamstring curl. So for those of you at home, right, we might not have a big, beautiful physio ball as demonstrated by Nicole over there. You can use a foam roller. You can use, if you have hardwood floors or ceramic floors, you can use a towel. Just slippery socks, honestly, or like a blanket, whatever's going to slide easily. So
awesome.
What Nicole's going to do is she's going to lie down, because we all need a little nap every once in a while. We're not going to close your eyes. You, Nicole, are going to dig those heels down into the ball. She's squeezing her glutes. So this is another posterior chain exercise. However, we're getting the hammies. Nice.
Oh yeah, we are.
Curled those heels in towards her booty. So doing that, right? She's flexing the knees. So she is getting a lot of hamstring activation here. This is a very important exercise for our runners. Anybody that needs to be doing a lot of high jumps, right? Being able to land and everything like that. Hamstrings are really, really important to work on as well. How you doing over there?
Feeling great. Definitely feeling my hamstrings.
I wasn't sure if the great was a little sarcastic.
No, I like it.
Good. So everyone, we're going to do 2 more. I hope you guys are working with Nicole and you're watching as she does this. So again, she's digging those heels down. She's curling them in towards her booty, and she's relaxing at the end of that. Perfect. So we've gotten hamstrings, calves. We got a little bit of quads before. So again, we wanted to get through some lower body things. Now let's work into some core. So we are going to go ahead and do a side plank. Now, what's super fun about side planks is you can be really creative with it and almost turn it into a lower body exercise. Ball's gone rampant.
It wants to chase me.
So what Nicole's going going to do is we're gonna start with an easier version, everybody. To make this a little more challenging, you can always go full blown with the hand on the ground, but Nicole's gonna start with her forearm on the ground. The forearm just allows for you to lift your hips a little less high than compared to a full blown arm's length away from the floor. Beautiful. So Nicole is breathing in through her nose and out through her mouth.
Yeah.
And hold this. So I know we talked about sets and reps. What we like to do for core is sometimes holding it a little bit more and just focusing on your breath. So our reps are actually going to be your breath. So you're going to breathe in for 1, out for 1. Good. And so she's going to try to take, 6 breaths or so to make it a little bit more challenging. Hey, Nicole, what if you tried to lift your right leg up towards the ceiling and then down?
Definitely harder.
Oof. So what do you feel when you lift that right leg by any chance? Anything different?
This a little bit, but a lot more core and hip on the bottom side.
Amazing. So this is also how you can turn this into sets and reps, right? Being able to say, all right, I'm going to do 10 leg lifts and then I'll go ahead and turn over to the other side. So you can be, pretty creative with how you want to count your sets and reps. And yes, as Nicole is demonstrating, we do want to do both sides and keep you nice and symmetrical. We never want to keep just one side nice and strong. That's definitely not
Of course not.
So she's going to keep doing those. I'm going to take water. Amazing. So we've just done 3 exercises, right? We've done 2 for the lower body. We've done 1 for the core. And I think it is sadly my turn to get moving. So Nicole, I'll hand it to you.
All right, let me get myself back to my desk and we're going to walk you guys and Gwen through some exercises.
Oh boy.
Okay. Quick water break.
Right.
Okay, awesome. So the first thing that Gwen is going to do is another core exercise we call dead bugs, which you'll see why in a moment. Sorry. So we are going to have Gwen lay on her back.
I'm just going to move this down a little bit more so you can see me. Perfect.
Awesome. Yes, now I can see you perfectly. Okay, so she's laying on her back. She's going to bring her legs up to tabletop position. So 90-90, knee bend in the hips and knees. Then her arms are going to reach up to the ceiling. Awesome. If you have something like a foam roller or a pillow that you can push in between your knee and hand, even better. This makes it more challenging. And then she's going to extend one arm overhead as the opposite leg goes down to the ground. So this is getting a lot of our really important deep core muscles, as Gwen can probably attest to.
Uh-huh.
Excellent. So you can, this is another one where we need to do both sides. So Gwen can try about 5 or 6 on one side, and then she'll switch her hold to the other side. Excellent. So our core, whatever sport you do, core is the center of everything we do. So this is a really important exercise for us. Excellent. So awesome, Gwen, you can rest. So the next one, we're going back to legs. So the next one is going to be a slider lunge. So if you've got carpet, you can use like a furniture slider. If you've got slippery socks and wood floor, like Gwen, that is also perfect. So she's gonna start just standing up, and then she's gonna slide one leg back behind her until her back knee almost hits the ground. Excellent. And then you push through that front leg to come back up. Perfect. So this is definitely quad, definitely glute, and a lot of balance and stability work as well. How's that feeling, Gwen?
My ankles are cracking so much.
That looks great. Okay, try the other side. Awesome. So another one that we need to do both to keep things even, of course.
Woo! This does work balance. I almost fell over there.
Yes, so much dynamic stability going on. Amazing.
Really feel the burn.
Perfect. And the last one is we're taking it back to core again. Hopefully your core got a little rest after dead bugs. We're going to do another plank variation, this time a forward plank. So she's going to be up in the full straight arm position this time. So I want you now, Gwen, to tap one hand to the opposite shoulder. Excellent. So putting yourself on to 3 limbs instead of 4 decreases your stability and increases the amount of core strength that you need to stay still. So the goal of this one is really to keep everything in your trunk super still and aligned and not get too much side to side wobbling.
Like I am demonstrating apparently.
So you can always make this a little bit easier by going onto your knees if you feel like that's way too much. The other thing you can do is adjust how far apart or narrow your feet are. The further apart they are, the more stability and balance you'll have. The more narrow, the less stability you'll have. So that's another way you can adjust it. How's it feeling?
Oh my goodness. I gotta do those more often.
Yeah. Okay, amazing job. So hopefully all of you guys got a sense of how to do those exercises, which we'll send all of them to you all afterwards. But we're going to take a little break before we do a bit of a HIIT style workout at the end so that I can talk to you guys about cardio. So speaking of cardio, what is the definition? So we're just going to start really basic. Basically, cardiovascular exercise is any activity that raises your heart rate and breathing rate to a moderate to vigorous intensity level for at least 10 minutes. So right now, the current recommendations are to get 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity cardio exercise. So that breaks down to about 30 minutes 5 times a week. Or if you're doing really vigorous intensity, you can do 75 minutes. So preferably you want that spread throughout the week so that you're not just doing like 150 minutes all in one day.
I don't think I can manage that.
You never know. Some people train like crazy, but spread it out if you can. So one thing that we can take into account when you're deciding what type of cardio cross training you should be doing is your muscle fiber type. So every muscle in our body has 2 main types of muscle fibers. We've got type 1, slow twitch, and type 2, which we call fast twitch. So slow twitch muscle fibers give us the ability to do prolonged aerobic activity. So the classic example of somebody who's got a lot of slow twitch fibers is a marathon runner. On the other hand, we've got fast twitch muscle fibers, and they give us the ability to do quick explosive movements. So classic example of somebody who's got more fast twitch fibers would be a sprinter. So the opposite of marathon running. So I want all of you to think about your own sport. Does it involve more prolonged activity, aerobic activity, or are you doing more explosive movements like jumping and sprinting? So whichever one you do most, you want to cross train in the opposite way of that. So for example, back to our distance runner, they would really benefit from like a HIIT style workout similar to what we're going to try at the end of the session today. Whereas somebody who already is doing like explosive jumping, sprinting movements would benefit from doing more like prolonged biking and swimming or running. So why is cardio so important right now? As all of us know, a lot of us are home, social distancing and quarantining, not able to really do our usual workouts. But right now it's as important as ever to continue doing some form of cardio training in your home or outside if you can do that to maintain your fitness and endurance. So keeping up with that cardio at home will give you the ability to more easily transition back into your sport or activity once classes, studios, and gyms are open, hopefully soon. And we're going to be showing you guys an example of something that is really easy to kind of adapt to what you want to do at home at the end today. Okay, so it's time to take another poll. So this one is another true or false. My sport requires lots of cardio endurance already, so I only need to focus on cardio and endurance training. What do you guys think? You just need to do what your sport requires. I think you're probably starting to get the idea. of the importance of cross training. All right.
I know that like for dance, for Irish dance, right? We were only on stage for probably a minute, yet they were like, you guys, you should go run cross track and field and whatever, and like run all that stuff. And we were just like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I also did gymnastics, and our coaches would force us to do days where we just went to the gym and lifted. And it was my absolute least favorite thing. But turns out that coaches know more than us. And they knew the right thing, because you guys all guessed it right. The answer to this one is false.
Amazing.
You do need to do cardio and strength training. Not only that, but you need to do different types of cardio and strength training than you're used to. So yes, your sport, whatever activity you normally do, will definitely improve your overall health. But over time, our bodies adapt and get used to whatever activity we do the most. So doing something different other than your usual routine, moving your muscles in a different way, that'll give your body a fresh new challenge that will get you an even better cardio shape than just kind of doing the same thing that you typically do. This brings us to our last poll. Last true or false of the day. So question is, I don't need to cross train because I need to give my body ample recovery time after my sport, and cross training will result in injury.
That's a tough one. I feel like I would always say that to my teachers and even my piano teacher, because my fingers would just get so tired. I was more so I just didn't want to do it, but
I need to practice less. Yeah, exactly.
To recover and play really well tomorrow. Obviously, I can't play today.
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Okay, amazing job, you guys. So the answer to this is false. Basically, being able to do different types of cardio actually decreases your risk of injuring yourself during your sport or activity. So of course, we all need time to recover, but it's really important to work cross training in a way that you make a little bit of time for it, so that of course you want to recover after everything that you do, not just whatever you normally do or the cross training. But we know that this decreases the risk of injury because, as Gwen explained earlier, overuse injuries happen as a result of doing repetitive movement with excessive loading. So giving your body a break from its usual activity and introducing a new exercise can actually prevent those repetitive use injuries. On the other hand, traumatic injuries too typically happen when something out of the ordinary happens in your sport and your body is not really equipped to prevent it. So priming our body to be able to respond to those different situations by cross training can also help to prevent traumatic injuries. So both overuse and traumatic injuries, cross training is like a huge part of the injury prevention. So hope you guys are ready to get to work again. We're gonna do a little HIIT style cardio workout that you can all do on your own.
So we're gonna kind of take it the same pattern, if you will, that we did earlier. So we're doing the exact same 6 exercises, right? So we're not trying to change anything up on you too much. What we're doing is just changing timing and how we're gonna break it down. So Nicole is going to demonstrate the next 3 exercises that she demonstrated earlier. So again, that was a squat with a heel raise, that was a hamstring curl, and a side plank. And what we're going to do is I have set my handy dandy timer. We are going to do 30 seconds of work and 10 minutes of rest. 30 seconds and 10 seconds. Wow, that's a lot of rest. 30 and 10 seconds. We're gonna do the squats first, 10-second break. We'll go into the hamstrings, 10-second break. And last but not least, end with a plank. And then I get to do the other ones. So everyone, let's get moving. Get ready, get on your feet. Let me just pull this up on my, if anybody needs a fun little, where'd it go? App. There is a great interval timer. So green means go and yellow is gonna mean stop. So I'm gonna go ahead and press start, and we're gonna start with our squats. Ready, set, go. Amazing. I don't know if anybody. So she's doing her squats with a heel raise. It looks like she is going the challenging route. This is amazing. She is keeping those heels up, up, up. For those of you that might be having a bit, careful, some calf discomfort or maybe calf cramping, you can always just do regular squats as well. For our dancers watching, this is just, again, second position going into a grand plie. Oh, and that's time. Take a little breather. Everyone, let's get down on the floor. We are going to grab our towel, our slippery socks, our foam roller, whatever you can. See, that was that very fast. And we're going to go ahead and do
Let's go fast.
work.
Quick
Nicole's not
rest.
ready. So that's the point, right? Is we want to keep your heart rate up, minimal rest during your sets, and working really, really hard during your time and reps. Okay. So we're halfway there, guys. You guys are doing incredibly. We're squeezing those hamstrings. We're pushing down into the heels against whatever surface you're on. We got another 4 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Fabulous. Luckily, you guys get to stay on the floor this time. So we're going to position ourselves into a nice side plank. Hopefully the ball doesn't go rogue again.
It's going rogue.
And here we go. 30 seconds up on into the side plank. For those of you that want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can go ahead and start to rep it out. So you can go up and down, and we are going to be doing 30 seconds on each side. Again, we want to keep that symmetry. You're cross-training the whole body, not just one side. So we're 10 seconds to go. And then we're going to go ahead and switch sides. 5 seconds. 4, make sure you are breathing. 2 and 1. Good, everyone. Whoo! Switch sides. You're almost there. The first round is almost done. And then you guys get to sweat with me and I'll be grunting and moaning. All right, 3, 1, go. 30 seconds for round number 2. And again, for those of you that were doing, the little more challenging one, you're going to go up and down with that leg. Man, Nicole, you are crushing this. I think I would have left it to maybe like pounds and be like, now.
I felt pressured.
You all have 10 seconds left. You're doing extremely well. Again, just make sure you're breathing. You want to bring oxygen to those muscles. Forget that. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Fabulous. That was round 1. You guys did it in literally 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Like, that's no time at all, right? So we can do this at home with these exercises. All right, it's my turn. I'm a little nervous.
Well, sorry that I have to explain this to you guys out of breath again. Okay, so we're going to.
Definitely not fair to you, Nicole. I should have gone second this time around.
No, I didn't even think of that.
Right.
Okay, so we're back on the ground for our core dead bugs. So if you so choose to squeeze something to make it a little bit harder, you bring that in between your knees and hands. And we've got 30 seconds on the clock and go. Good. So the harder you push into your knees, your pillow, your foam roller, whatever you've got, the harder this is going to be for your core. Main thing with this one, make sure that your back isn't arching off of the ground. If you need it to be a little bit easier, you can always have your legs a little bit higher off from the ground. The lower down it is to the ground, the harder it is for your core. 5 seconds, guys.
Oh my goodness.
And rest for 10. Good job.
Woo!
Excellent work. 5 seconds till go time. We're back up for slider lunges.
I'm ready.
And go. So we're going to do 30 seconds for each leg for this one. You got it. So you really want to make sure that your front knee isn't going past your front toe. That is one main thing to look out for, and that you're taking a nice wide stance. You don't want it to be too narrow and squished together. Good. 5 more seconds here. Excellent. And rest.
Whew.
For 10. Nice. How did those feel?
My right thigh is burning.
Excellent. All right. Time for the left thigh burn. All right, you're on.
Oh, we're ready. Oopsie. I cheated.
We're on. No, you can have a spare second. That's looking great. So everyone can see that Gwen is really well balanced. She's not wobbling all over the place, but if you feel like you are, you can always hold on to something lightly for balance as well. 5 seconds left. And rest. Excellent. Okay. Quick 10-second rest before our last one. We're coming back to the ground for more core planks with shoulder taps. And come on up, Gwen, you can go. Excellent. So this one is just one round of 30 seconds, luckily for everyone. See how Gwen is keeping her hips in line with her shoulders and feet. So everything's in like one straight line. Not too much shifting side to side. And she's not sort of folded at her hips either. Excellent. 10 more seconds.
So much for
Awesome.
my arms.
Yeah, I know. And rest.
Woo!
Excellent job.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Okay,
Wowzers.
so after all of that, I know that was a lot of information. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of a sweat in. I'm
did.
sure you have a lot of questions. So we're going to go back to Nina and she's going to lead us in some Q&A from all the questions that you guys asked us.
Hello again, everyone. Thank you both so much for sharing your knowledge and getting all of us moving this afternoon. So let's start to cool down a little bit and answer a few questions. So one of our first questions that we got, I am an experienced runner with mild knee pain, which I believe is the result of weak quads and hamstrings since I haven't been doing any, doing my squats in the gym. I do upper body weights with my dumbbells, but no lower body. I also have ankle weights. What do you recommend?
Nicole, you want to take this one away?
Sure. So sorry, I'm just going to look at your details of what you have. You have ankle weights. Okay, awesome. So I would say this is a really good, this would be awesome for a physical therapist to evaluate in person, first of all. So that is something to think about, but also really we want to strengthen the quads and glutes as much as possible. So usually knee pain is in general coming from poor knee control when you're running because we've got a lot of single leg stance with running. So if your glutes aren't doing the job that they're supposed to do, then the knee sort of wiggles in this plane. So the more glute strengthening you can do and quad control, the better. So usually we recommend as like a start off exercise, side steps are awesome. If you've got any TheraBands, you can also do with your ankle weights, leg lifts to the side. That would be a good place to start.
And even in the plank that we did, that would be really hard maybe to start, but it would be a great thing because we just gave you so many quad, hamstring, and glute med exercises. So those outer hip muscles, right? So the slider lunges, the hamstring curls, and those side planks with the leg lifts, those could be your three go-tos every day, right? But within that strength scheme of, right, the 6 to 12 reps, getting about 40 to 70 in. So you've got those exercises right there from today. I'm still a little sweaty. I'm just realizing my
Well, thank you both for answering that. Next that we have, I wonder what your thoughts are about building flexibility while also getting back into heavy lifting with a barbell. Would you suggest stretching before or after lifting?
Oh, I feel like, and Nicole, definitely, like, you also tell me what you've been thinking. I feel like
For sure.
I started getting into weightlifting after dance and I was a lot more flexible back then. I definitely lost a lot of my flexibility. What I found was instead of just static stretching, right? I will save some static stretching at the end, but another great way to improve that muscular flexibility and mobility is actually with a foam roller. So I don't know if you have the ability to foam roll the quads, if you have that at home. If you don't, no stress, but I would really focus on like that static stretching where, you know, you reach down to your toes or you're doing your figure 4 stretch. I would do that at the end of your session, right? Make sure those muscles are nice and strong during, flexibility at the end for that better recovery.
Yeah, I agree. I usually say warm up beforehand so that, you know, that helps with injury prevention as well while you're lifting, and then save the stretching stuff at the end as a little cool down.
Good to know. Thank you, girls. Next question, the dead bug. Can you just press your hand to the opposite knee without using a pillow? What does the pillow accomplish?
Yes, you can. Good question. You can use just pushing your hand into the knee. Sometimes it's hard for people to reach all the way to the knee. So if you want like a little bit of a buffer and it sort of lets you relax your upper body a little bit further down onto the ground. So that's why I recommend sometimes like a foam roller, a short foam roller that you hold long ways is a nice option as well. But you can totally do the option where you just push your hands into your knees. That is also great.
Perfect.
The pillow just slid down my leg, so it made it harder.
Yeah.
Next question we got. Not sure if slow twitch or fast twitch, but do Zumba and other dance classes at home? Can you specify or recommend some activities for each category, slow and fast twitch, that can be done inside a New York City apartment? Some of us have to stay in during the pandemic. Thanks.
For sure. I'll take this one since that was the part that I was talking to you guys about. So think endurance exercise for the slow twitch category. So low load, higher reps. So if you're trying to work those slow twitch fibers, you want to do squats. You're doing a lot more squats versus fast twitch fibers. You're going to do like squat jumps, something that you're exploding out of. So I would say if you're trying to work your slow twitch fibers, you want to improve your endurance, just do maybe 3 rounds of 20 squats with no weight. And then you could do a few different exercises like that, even some of the ones that we did today. On the fast twitch category, you could actually take some of the ones that we showed you and just make them into like a jumping thing, right? So squat jumps instead of just squatting on your toes. You could also do like mountain climbers in place of regular planks. That would also count as fast twitch for the core. So yeah, those are a few examples. Hope that helps.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So for HIIT exercises, can you just clarify a little bit? Same exercises at the same pace, just less time to rest, transition. Can you just explain a little bit more what HIIT exercises are?
Do you want me to take that one? I can do that one.
Yeah, go for it, Gwen.
Yeah. So we just wanted to show you that essentially you can take a lot of different, what we would consider strengthening exercises, and just change the way that you do it in terms of like timing, reps, sets, stuff like that, right? That's going to be more that HIIT related exercise. So HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. You're trying to get a lot done in a small amount of time. Strength, you want to take your time, right? You want to make sure you're feeling those that mind to muscle connection. You're engaging those glutes, those squats, you're feeling those calf muscles when you come up onto your toes. But the high interval training, right, is supposed to make you look glistening and sweaty and moving quickly. So maybe like we did today, right, work for 30 seconds and then relax for 10. And once you've finished a compound of muscles, so like we did the squat, side planks, and the hamstring curls, right? Maybe then you repeat that again, right? And maybe you're going to repeat that 3 whole times. By the end of that, you just got yourself 10 minutes of cardio. And like, that's not a lot of time, but you are going to be profusely sweating, heart rate's going to skyrocket. So that's why we wanted to show you the difference between the strength and the HIIT and how you can turn one into another. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Gwen. One of our attendees is asking the name of the interval timer app that you were using.
Sorry, it's called, hold on. It's literally just called interval timer, apparently. It's this blue and gray. I don't think you guys can see it. It's blue in the middle, gray on the outside. It's just called interval timer. I think there are several for free, honestly, on the apps store though, so it doesn't have to be particularly that one. I just like this one for a multitude of reasons, but yeah, I had to play with a few to find the one I liked the most.
Thank you, Gwen. Often do you think that we should change our routine? Should core workout happen every day?
I can start and then you can chime in, Gwen, if you have any thoughts too. But I think the more often you can change the routine, the better. So it doesn't have to be necessarily every single time. You could have sort of, maybe if we do the same setup that we did today, you could have 3 different days of different exercises that you do and sort of rotate through that. That would give you a lot of variety. And I would say, honestly, you should work your core into some core workout into every workout that you do. It doesn't have to be like a sole core day, but if you can just do something to activate that core, I mean, I mentioned earlier that everything kind of stems from that. So if you can work it in, always do that.
Great. Gwen, do you want to add anything else?
I was just going to say a lot of these, like Nicole said, right, you can turn into a core exercise too, though. So it doesn't have to be a plank that you feel your core. As long as you keep yourself upright and engaged in your squats, like you're going to work your core. You need it time. Otherwise, you're just going to be limbs on a random floppity body. So you're working your core all the time. If you're just more mindful about it, you're incorporating it into all of your movements.
Perfect. Thank you. One of our other attendees had asked, if you have carpal tunnel, is it possible to do the planks with your forearms on the mat as opposed to doing it upright?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Would one of you guys mind demonstrating just so that we can make sure we're looking at the form, and if there are any things that we should keep in mind from being on our hands versus being on our forearms?
I'm on the floor. I'll give it a go.
Thanks,
It wouldn't be
Gwen.
fair to Nicole otherwise. All right. So, right. So forearms here, I kind of like to have my palms one another. This one might be a little easier. I know you can't see my feet. They're a little closer together, but even here, right, you can just hold it. You can bring your knee to, the opposite elbow. Your butt's going to come up a little bit, but you can really play with it. You can bring same knee to same elbow. You do a couple twisties if you don't have low back pain, right? You can be really creative with it. But honestly, I tend to just breathe. And the more I breathe, the harder it gets and I get shaky. All right.
And then would you also mind showing it? Did you do the side plank one on your hand or on your elbow? I don't recall, Nicole.
I did it on the elbow.
Oh, perfect. I just wanted to make sure.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like there's one more way that you can do it though, is if you still want to get the full benefit of maybe doing like a shoulder tap, you can just use your fists. If you don't have too much wrist pain or finger pain, you can always do it on your fists. And then you can even do the side to side ones here. So that's always an opportunity and a different change up.
Excellent. Thank you. Just a handful more questions, ladies. If you're doing the HIIT circuits like we just did at the end, how many circuits would you recommend that we do? Also, do you suggest doing strengthening exercises before or after running?
So I think that what we did was about 3 minutes, right, Gwen? The HIIT little at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say because the recommendations for cardio say that you want it to be 10 minutes for it to count toward your 150 minutes per week that we're supposed to do. I would recommend doing that 3 times to get the full cardio effect so that it equals out to about 10 minutes of having your heart up. And then do I suggest strength training before or after running? I usually tend to think that it's good to do a few activation exercises before, but not to overdo it so that you're not sort of fatigued for your run, and then save the strengthening stuff for a separate time so that you have time to recover before you go for another run. So whether it's, after the run or a different day.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm a cyclist. Do you have any conditioning tips for cycling specific?
I mean, I think this goes hand in hand, right? It depends on what kind of cycling, I guess, you do, because I know some people only go around for maybe 20, 30 minutes. They just want to get that movement in their day. And then there's some people that are going around for 2 hours. So again, just taking into consideration what Nicole mentioned earlier, right? Finding what is technically the opposite from what you do. If you're still working on maybe cardio for a day, and then on days where you might just want to move, but you don't want to get on the bike, that's when strength training can come into play. So just taking it easy, working those lower body muscles in your core. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
I agree.
Excellent. And I think there was one other question. Someone was asking about the hamstring curl exercise. They didn't have a ball. Can someone demonstrate how to use it if they're just in socks?
I can show the foam roller version, and Gwen can show you the slidey sock version.
Sure. I'll start with the slidey socks while you get your foam roller.
Great.
So what I would do is actually, just so that it's a little more comfortable for my back, I have a little bit of back pain these days. What I'm gonna have you guys do is I actually kind of double up my yoga mat because then also my legs won't slide. So I'm sitting on the edge of the yoga mat, and then I'm going to, I hope you all can see my feet, sort of, right? So I'm really just on the ground. I'm just gonna dig my heels down. I lift my butt up a little bit and I slide them in towards me, and I nice and slow out away from my booty. And then I do it again once I'm all the way nice and flat. So booty up, curl it in, slide it in towards you, and then slowly bring it back out. But again, if it's not super slippery on your floor, you can use a towel or something underneath your heels, but doing the same thing.
Perfect.
And similarly with the foam roller, basically I'll just put it right above my Achilles or my ankles, lift the glutes off the ground, and then curl in just like we were talking about earlier.
She makes that look really easy. That is really hard.
This is one of my favorite exercises to give to patients these days, so I've been practicing.
Amazing.
And I guess the last thing that one of our other attendees had asked was they had bad knees. If you guys had any recommendations on ways to just modify some of the exercises, if they do have a bad knee or bad back or anything like that, any recommendations just based off of the exercises that we did review today, modifications that they might be able to keep in mind to minimize the load on their joints?
Yeah, so I guess the heaviest exercises on the knees that we did were the reverse lunges and the wide leg squats on your toes. So I would say for the squats, really making sure that your knees don't go past your toes is the main thing to avoid too much pressure for the front of the knees. But if that's still giving you pain, you can always do something more static, like a wall sit, or just going down into a squat and holding it there so that you're not having to go through that motion of going up and down if that's what's causing the knee pain. Yeah, that's my idea for squats. And then what do you think for lunges, Gwen, in terms of a good modification?
You mentioned it earlier. I would even just say like holding on to something. That way you're not
Mhm.
fearful of maybe falling over. A lot of the time when we're fearful of that potential, like losing our balance and we're not giving it our all, that can start to make our muscles, tense up in ways that we might not want to during that particular exercise. So you can hold on to a chair, a table, a countertop, something that's stable. And I would even recommend for both, maybe just don't go through the full range of motion. If you find that there's a spot where you stop and you're like, okay, cool, I feel the burn. But if I were to go a little bit more, I'd get a little creaky in my knees. You can always stop there and see over time, hey, can you get a little further, the next time around? So play with what you can, with what you've got, right? So I would say holding on, reduce that range of motion a smidge. And as Nicole said, right, don't let those knees come over those toes. It's like big no-no.
Thank you, ladies. Actually, we have one more that just came up. My calf muscles tend to get stiff from jumping. Any recommendations?
Maybe stretching before and after, or rolling is also really good, as Gwen was mentioning earlier. But I would say especially stretching the calves after. So there are a few simple calf stretches that I'll show you guys really fast, but basically you just, do the classic runner stretch at the wall. So I'm just going to bring you down to the ground here. So here we are. Bring one leg way back, keep your heel on the ground, toe pointed forward, and just lean forward until you feel a good stretch in this back leg. So that is the simplest and my favorite calf stretch. So I'd recommend trying that afterwards. And yeah, that's my best recommendation.
Yeah, same. I would just say stretch afterwards if it's starting to feel really tight. You can even stretch in between sets if that helps. Like if you're doing like, a set of 10 and you're like, oh my God, my calf. And then you want to set, you can just stretch in between. It's not going to hurt anything whatsoever. Just don't push it so much that you feel pain in the stretch. But yeah, stretching is great.
Excellent. I think that's all the questions that we have. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing all of your knowledge with us and getting all of us up and moving this afternoon. So we hope that everyone found today's talk valuable and learned different ways to balance your own workout routines at home. If there are any other questions and we weren't able to answer them, we'll do our best to reach out to you directly afterward. We'll also be sending out a handout of the exercises for you to reference. So now we will put Gwen and Nicole's contact information on the screen. So please feel free to take a moment to jot down their info. Gwen again is one of our PTs at our Murray Hill location, and Nicole is at our Times Square Center for the Performing Arts Clinic. And all their contact info can be found there. And then here it is both mine and Ashley's contact info. Again, I'm the clinical director at our Times Square office, and Ashley is the clinical director at our West 57th Street office. As an orthopedic outpatient physical and occupational therapy practice, we treat an array of conditions from head to toe. We help to prevent and treat pain, recover from injuries and surgeries, and much more. Appointments and treatments are covered by insurance, and we are in network with virtually all major insurances. Should you feel that you would benefit from some individualized guidance and treatment, please reach out to any one of us individually, and we will personally coordinate you and help set up an evaluation. We have 20 clinics throughout the New York City area that are open, and we have virtual online telehealth appointments so we can make it convenient for you. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our webinar. Until next time.